China's financial development should pay attention to Germany's experience. One, in my opinion, compared to similar works, The Mystery of Finance, a comparative study of the German financial system. One of the prominent features of research is its consistent problem-oriented approach. These problems are not conceptualized doctrines, but institutional issues that have repeatedly emerged in China's financial reform and development process for over 40 or even 70 years, but have not yet been resolved. Undoubtedly, these issues are the difficulties, in points, and obstacles that China's financial development will face in the future. They are the difficulties that we need to overcome through further deepening reforms. The problem-oriented approach serves as the main theme in the entire book, with 1 chant and 3 sighs. In the highly informative preface, these questions are first collected under the title of German Financial Impression. The exhibition and preliminary sorting have played a role in guiding the entire book. In the following chapter the theme reappears as a striking German financial puzzle. This emerging perspective is mainly based on Germany itself. It summarizes the main characteristics of German financial development since the end of World War I and the practice and theoretical overview of the Western mainstream developed economies led by the United States and Britain. Comparative analysis was conducted. After laying the groundwork, the following 9 chapters of the book vividly reproduce the problem-oriented themes, including the relationship between finance and the real economy, low leverage, the iron law of monetary policy to maintain price stability, the virtuous cycle between finance and the real estate market, the pro-customer characteristics of banks' umbrella collection in rainy days, financing arrangements for small and medium-sized enterprises, and the organic complementarity of policy and commercial factors. In financial operation, the unique role of credit unions and the mystery of relatively lagging stock market development have comprehensively presented us with a picture of Germany's financial system, monetary and financial policies, and even macroeconomic policies. Finally, the author uses 10 enlightenments of German finance as a summary of the entire book to revisit the German financial system from the perspective of China's financial reform and extract several aspects that may provide reference for China's financial reform. This arrangement not only facilitates readers to grasp the overall picture of Germany's financial system from simple to profound, but also highlights it embodies the characteristics of the German financial system, in terms of the layout of ownership, superstition and state motivation. In the first half of GDP grew by %. Foreign trade showed a year-on-year decline. Inflation was high, and small and medium-sized enterprises were struggling sad. Bankruptcy has become a trend. Regarding this situation, the relevant parties are both very vigilant and very anxious. Based on continuous meetings and discussions, they have decided to change the macro tuning from dual prevention to one protection and one control, and have made sufficient articles on protection. In terms of policy rescue itself, it is understandable But if analyzed from the perspective of macro adjustment history, today's scene is precisely the period of macro adjustment back then. And the current situation proves the remarkable achievements of macro adjustment. The reason why we dare not recognize the macro adjustment results is that the protection and pressure distribution of macro adjustment policies is uneven, which is basically characterized by the protection of state-owned enterprises and the laissez-faire of private enterprises, starting from the tight monetary and land supply in this ND of regulation. The GEM has been delayed. Private enterprises have no access to financing, and state-owned enterprises and central enterprises can queue up to go public. The vast number of low-end enterprises in the industrial upgrading have completely lost their protection, and central enterprises take the opportunity to regain lost land and complete industry monopolies and market division, such as telecommunications. This result naturally cannot be accepted calmly by private enterprises. Therefore, the political foundation that can ensure the transformation of economic growth mode is fairness and justice. And based on this, policies can be revised the intention and effectiveness of the measures. Otherwise, the political show of Yigong Heilong will greatly undermine the government's credibility and make the cost of trial and error increasingly high. A prerequisite for establishing a political foundation based on fairness and justice is the establishment of a new concept of the country and a new concept of the people. That is, the understanding of the state transcends the violent machine in the stage of class conflict, but is independent of social entities, represents the common interests of all members of society, and takes the establishment of rules and regulations, maintenance of rules, and provision of public services as the main national motivation. Only when the national motivation is pure and selfless can the political principle of fairness and justice not be excluded. The new concept of the people is to restore the people from abstract concepts and exploitable slogans to specific individuals and interest groups. Only through the evolution of negation and negation can the people-oriented people find a realistic career, and the specific concept-era business opportunities are experienced just as the Chinese people are complacent about the national policy of family planning, which has resulted in 400 million fewer births in China. The aging population has advanced by 23%. 10 years will come. At the end of 2006, the population of elderly people aged 60 and above in China reached 149 million. Experts predict that it will reach 325 million by 2030, accounting for 21.9% of the total population. The typical 4+2+1, where a young couple has to support 4 elderly people and 1 child family structure, structural shortage of labor force, and insufficient social security income are the numerous challenges brought about by aging, which force structural adjustments at all levels of society. And the most crucial one is the transformation of thinking mode under the transition of old and new. The older generation thinks with the left brain, The left brain belongs to logic, rationality, utilitarianism, personal experience, analysis and calculation. The brain processes information in a time-dependent, sequential, and either-or directed manner. Therefore, the left brain almost represents the rule, institutionalization, standardization and mass production, which is just in line with the rules of the industrial age, bringing about the efficiency of collectivism, and also making focusing on big things and pragmatism the most typical way of thinking of the left brain. From the rule of holding chopsticks in the right hand, the arrangement of multiple choice questions on machine reading cards, to the efficiency of Fordism and the scientific worship of industrial civilization. The products under left brain thinking almost control the past. And in that year generation, left brain control has its inevitability. Firstly, in the early stages of industrialization, the market's ability to allocate resources was weak, and it could only rely on administrative means to concentrate efforts on major tasks to achieve national street rateages. Secondly, the accumulation of primitive capital relies on careful calculation, rationality rather than sensibility, science rather than intuition, and the consolidation of the foundation of the real economy through standardized production based on efficiency rather than the construction of a utopia. Therefore, industrial civilization itself is a civilization dominated by the left brain, and rationality and science are the two of them great magic weapon. But now the situation has made the premise of the era of left brain control gradually fade. Firstly, computerization, miniaturization, opportunity and possibility, because there is a huge amount of capital that can be linked beyond the anchor of the real economy. So chemical reactions in the financial field are almost inevitable. This is not only an opportunity for China's economic development, but also a potential risk. Perhaps this is the reason why mainstream and non-mainstream argue with each other, just like the economic development of industrialized countries has to go through different periods of take-off. China's financial explosion is also destined and inevitable. The final question is what the impact of the financial explosion will be. There are generally two aspects to this. Firstly, it becomes a financial plunder, eaters becoming the makers of international financial game rules, and enjoying the benefits of using capital to conspire to plunder the wealth of other countries. One is being bombed, greatly damaging one's vitality and repeating the mistakes of the Japanese. Of course, it is not ruled out that one may become a predator while also being injured by internal strife. The result of an explosion in an open system is definitely not just oneself, and the energy generated will also be transmitted throughout the entire system. This may be the biggest difference between China and Japan after experiencing the financial explosion. Exchange members holding exchange member stocks, and all financial institutions can participate in securities trading issuance activities. Abolish various financial investment regulations, and banks began to provide comprehensive financial services, including securities business. In OMS of regulation, The Bank of England has transferred the regulatory function of the banking industry to the Financial Services Authority of the UK. The financial Big Bang in the UK completely destroyed the financial division of the UK and Commonwealth countries and promoted the integration of merchant bank business and stockbroking business, as well as the integration of commercial banks and investment banks. Commercial banks in the UK have successively acquired and merged securities brokers, gradually emerging a group of super financial institutions, covering various fields such as banking, securities, insurance, trusts, etc., becoming a versatile financial group similar to Germany. Just as the Thatcher Revolution triggered a wave of global market-oriented reforms, the City of London's finance exploded. The explosion triggered a global wave of financial liberalization. Japan Tokyo financial explosion. Japan's financial liberalization reform directly refers to the sample of the UK, which is called the Tokyo Financial Big Bang. This is short. The Hashimoto Cabinet of Japan was launched on July with the core of promoting financial liberalization by relaxing financial regulations. The main legal basis of the Tokyo financial explosion is the Foreign Exchange Control Law and the Bank of Japan Law. The main content is that Japan will relax foreign exchange trading restrictions, and the venues for foreign exchange trading are not limited to licensed banks, and even supermarkets can engage in currency exchange. Japan's financial industry is officially moving towards free competition. Is a false proposition, and its arrogance violates the great taboo in the Chon-ji-ji horse racing. Who would use their own bad horses to confront the rise of developed countries? The core of the national financial strategy is to take a distinctive differentiated path, give full play to the asymmetric advantage of resources, and avoid path dependence to turn air supremacy into self-destructive power. The characteristic of the theory of financial original sin is to deconstruct the new economic civilization based on the qualitative analysis of the times, and to address the confusion in the state of order, conduct holographic full-dimensional research on various variables, attempting to find regular factors and provide new analytical coordinates for solving complex situations. In view of this, the FOCA think tank believes that finance is a comprehensive manifestation of a culture of long-term stability, and stability in inflation has been formed and consolidated. After World War I, the German central bank went through a process from decomposition to reconstruction. After World War I, Reichsbank stopped its business. On the basis of the branches of the former Reichsbank, the occupying power established Landeszentralbanken, the central bank of each state in Germany. In order to promote currency reform, the Deutsche Bank was established on top of the state central bank to be responsible for currency issuance, policy coordination, and foreign exchange management. In accordance with the law of the Deutsche Bundesbank was merged with the State Central Bank and the Berlin Central Bank to establish the Deutsche Bundesbank to perform the functions of the German Central Bank. Both the Deutsche Bundesbank and its predecessor, the Deutsche Banks, have been committed to maintaining the stability of the Deutsche Mark's currency value and achieving low inflation. As shown in the table, they have won widespread praise. During this period, Germany's average inflation rate was the lowest among the group of 7 countries. Weidmann: the long-term stability of Germany's inflation rate has also allowed for the continuation or even strengthening of a culture of stability. A stable culture in Germany is not the norm, and without the protection of the central bank, it is also a fragile norm. If the painful experience suffered by Germans in the years of rampant inflation and suppressed inflation has sown the seeds of a culture of stability or anti-inflation, then the outstanding performance of the German central bank in maintaining price stability and promoting price stability has nurtured a culture of stability that not only runs through the era of great stability but also continues to this day.